And I just want, just like you want, I want to pass this knowledge out and disseminate this knowledge to the larger Houston community or the larger community in the world. And that's what we are all about.
Welcome to the Fat Emperor podcast. I'm your host, Ivor Cummins. Well, we have a quick podcast today with none other than cardiologist Nadir Ali, super cardiologist who runs Low Carb Houston. And Low Carb Houston is on again this October, I believe. What date is it, Nadir?
It's the 24th to the 26th. So it's all day Thursday, all day Friday, and up till the afternoon around 5 on Saturday.
Excellent.
So it's 3 days.
3 days. And it was 2 days last year, was it? Or I can't quite recall.
So last year we had a teaser session in the evening to get the big heavy hitters in so that we can set the tone, and then it was 2 full days. So it was 2 1/4 day.
So 3 full days now. There's around a dozen speakers, all excellent, but throw out a few names there maybe to give people an idea of who's rolling on up to the stage.
So the speaker lineup could not be better. So let me start out with your favorite subject, which is calcium scoring. So I have the world's expert on calcium scoring, which is Faisal Nabi. He does calcium scoring on a daily basis at one of the biggest institutions in the world, which is Texas Medical Center. And so he does it on a regular basis. He's up on all the literature. He is a smart cardiologist. So he's agreed to come in and talk about calcium scoring, and all the low carb people can sit with him and grill him about what he thinks about all the data that you have pointed out. So that's one big plus. Then I have heavy hitters in cholesterol in terms of Dave Feldman. There is David Diamond who's going to come. There is an amazing cardiologist in Texas. And so I'm trying to bring him up from the Valley. And so I don't know if I can swing it or no, but he may be able to come. And then I want to add to that by saying that I have invited some of the heavy hitters in statin literature and heavy hitters in PCSK9. So like Christy Ballantyne, who's a big guru, Steve Nissen, who's a big guru, Peter Jones, and Peter Attia. So I've been trying to tell all of these guys, hey, please come. None of them have accepted an invitation yet because they are fearful of the cardiology community. And I just remembered, I forgot to mention that the guy from the Valley, the cardiologist, is Christian Asad. Asad is a very bright young man who's got a lot of clinical experience with low carb and heart failure patients, and low carb and coronary artery disease patients. So he's going to be there. Then you have the carnivore community. Amber Owen is confirmed to come. Sean Baker's family lives out here in Texas, in Houston. So I'm enticing him to come, and it's very likely that he's going to be here. Peter Ballerstad is going to come. In short, and Amy Berger from neuro and low carb and dementia. So I could not be more pleased with the response. I forgot to mention that some of the biggest hitters in this field is by name Ivor Cummins and Jeff Gerber. So the conference is not going to be lacking in some extremely high talent. I mean, we can all learn from all of us.
It sounds great, Nadir, and it just sounds excellent. Christian Asad, I recognize that name very well from Twitter. Very progressive, very smart guy. So that's a fantastic addition. And I'm not familiar with the CAC guy, but hopefully he agrees with most of my thoughts on the matter, but we'll find out.
Well, when I talked to him, he said, Dr. Ali, this is an amazing conference and I would like to come and be a part of it. So, that's real positive. And the only reason I'm trying to include people like Peter Attia or Steve Nissen or Christy Ballantyne is because these guys are some of the leading experts in statin research and PCSK9. And I want to have a balance in the program. I just don't want to be an echo chamber in which we are discussing all the good aspects of a low carb lifestyle or intermittent fasting. I want us to be challenged that what we are doing may have certain drawbacks, and I want to refine our field in such a way that we benefit everyone. And we have a lot of learning to do from them, and they have a lot of learning to do from us. And as long as the discourse is on a civil level, on a courteous level, in which we give each other the chance to listen to one another, I think we would all learn more.
Yeah, well, that's a great sentiment, Nadir, and I agree entirely. And as everyone knows, I'm the most polite and civil person on Twitter, at least. So, I have some form there.
Oh yes, I think that you never lash out until the other person gets completely ugly at you. But even with that, you are pretty polite and civil. I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, albeit a little cheeky at times. But yeah, I think that's great to invite Peter Attia, and because he's expressed very strong opinions with quite a lot of influence on limitations of calcium scanning, and he's a huge proponent of depending heavily on LDL particle count, which there's some merit there. It's a significant risk factor, but it'd be really great to kind of shake some of these things out in a civil environment, and look at both sides of the argument would be really useful for everyone. Because I think sometimes, the people in the different camps, they speak their message to everyone who listen, and they do it separately. But there's much more value, I think, in a little bit of logical argument and pro and con of each side. So perhaps even a vegan or staunch vegetarian person coming, given an argument from that kind of belief system, scientific argument, that'd be interesting too. Sean Baker having an open discussion, an informal, pleasant debate on the pros and cons of vegetarian versus carnivore type living.
So I couldn't agree with you more. So throw out a name that is in the plant-based program, and I will invite that person. I don't know if Mick the vegan would come. I don't know if you've seen some of his podcasts. I'm sure you have. And he might be a little too strong in terms of how vehement he gets and how he argues about the data. But he would not be a bad person to invite. Do you think that you have his contact and you can ask him to come?
Well, we can certainly try and tag him. I mean, I'm blocked by some people on Twitter who have very differing views than mine, but I don't think Mick the Vegan has blocked me, or you. So when we send out this podcast, we can tag him and say, hey, there's an open invite. And we can even send it to Gregor, Dr. Gregor at nutritionfacts.org. And I'd love to have a drink with him and compare some data and, have a bit of a discussion.
Well, that sounds good. I don't know if Katz, Richard Katz, is that correct? That the guy that is the biggest?
Oh,
yeah, that's aiming too high.
Yeah, I'm not so sure there. I think he's not one of the better examples, maybe from that camp. Actually, Dr. Khan, Joel Khan. Now I already had an online debate with him, not head to head, because I had my side of the debate with Dave Feldman, and then Joel had his side with Dave a day later. But in fairness, Khan, he's a very strong proponent of coronary artery calcification. He's a very strong proponent of vegan people taking specific supplements and acknowledges that the diet does need supplementation. So he's quite an honest broker as they go. And I quite like him, actually. I think we're kind of buddies unofficially. So there, Joel Kahn would be, and he's a cardiologist as well. So yeah.
If you hit me with his address, I will
Okay.
try to contact him the best possible way and entice him to come.
Excellent. And we can use Dave Feldman too, because he's had a couple of sessions with him and they have a great rapport. So yeah, let's see, can we get Joel on? Come on, Joel. Let's do it.
Yes, I echo that sentiment. So while we are on the subject of cholesterol itself and Dave Feldman, now Dave Feldman has come up with an amazing idea, and that is that he wants to offer a comprehensive blood draw at the conference. So people can go to the site and sign up to get their comprehensive blood draw done at a fraction of the price that they would get done if they went to their physician or they shopped online to get it. And it'll include an NMR lipid profile. It'll include measures of insulin resistance. It'll include several inflammation markers such as ferritin and GGT that you have talked about. And it'll have a whole battery of other things like C-peptide and a CBC and a CompMet. So he's offering it at a very attractive price. The Low Carb Houston happens right next door to the Exercise and Nutritional Health Institute at University of Houston. It's called EHNI. So there's a laboratory out there with all the certifications to draw your blood in a good way. And so you could sign up and you could get an additional benefit of not just coming to the conference, but getting key markers of insulin resistance, inflammation markers, your NMR lipids measured, and benefit from learning what these various things mean. So that's another little carrot for people to come to the conference.
Wow, that's a pretty big card actually, because one of the fantastic things about Houston and the way you've designed it and run it is you keep the actual ticket price as low as humanly possible and a low cost venue. So because it's such a relatively low cost compared to many other conferences, if you add in the huge saving, I'm guessing, on that advanced testing, you know, the cost of being there for all these great speakers and possibly debates, you know, it's going to be really, really small relative to some of the others. I mean, this is the one to go to. I'm biased, but I really think so.
Well, I thank you for being biased, but let's talk about the cost a little bit. So this conference is being run through the University of Houston Clear Lake, and none of the programming faculty makes any money off it. It's like a not-for-profit conference. The university gives us the auditorium and their facilities at a very reasonable rate. So our expense margin is not very high. So we can offer a ticket at a very low price. And I cannot tell you how much I admire and appreciate the speakers that come to these events, because all of them come at great personal expense and great personal time off. And basically, some of them are reimbursed for their travel and their lodging. And many of them even refuse to take that. So the conference is being offered at a low ticket price because we are able to structure it that way. It's not a profit motive. It's an educational motive. It is to advance this type of healthy living to the Houston community, which is strongly in need of that, because the last time I looked, we were either the top or the second metabolically unhealthy city in the world in terms of obesity. So it's a good event.
Excellent. Well, you know, it is fantastic. And I won't mention any names, but some conferences are particularly commercial in nature, and that's okay too. People need to run businesses. But as you say, to just reach out and help people, you got to keep the cost down, because a lot of people, it's a significant expense when you include travel. So that's what makes Houston really special, to be honest. So any other top items about the conference in October? I mean, I think we've covered mainly the speakers and the content, the low cost, and all of this advanced testing people can avail of. Any other last thoughts? We'll keep this a tight one.
Yes, two quick things. One of them is that we're going to have a session for type 1 diabetics with a local guy out here from Baylor College of Medicine, Jake Kushner. So the last time the type 1 diabetes session was so humongously popular because there are several patients who are running around in Houston area and other areas being type 1 diabetics and running hemoglobin A1Cs in the fives. 5.6 is the upper limits of normal. Their blood sugar is very often in the night dropped to 55, 50, sometimes even lower. And these guys are asymptomatic. And they have simultaneous ketone levels measured at that time. And so Jake is going to run a session. Jake Kushner, right? He's like the world's leading expert in type 1 diabetes.
Yep.
You cannot miss that session. Another young and upcoming star who's going to come up to our Houston area is Priyanka Wali. I remember her presentation at Low Carb Denver, and I think that she completely hit it out of the ballpark. So I think that's some of the programming notes. And I want to talk a little bit about Houston, if possible.
Oh, yeah, go for it. I'll just mention I met Priyanka a couple of years ago in San Diego, and we had a great conversation. So, fantastic lady. And I agree, I really enjoyed her talk in Denver. It was very humorous and also serious at the same time. But it was kind of funny. I had quite a serious talk, and I was going on directly after her. So it was kind of amusing for me because as I sat and watched all these fantastic jokes and the audience roaring, laughing, I thought, I got to go on now with a real somber, serious tone. But it was fine. But great stuff. Delighted she's there. So yeah, give us the other details there, whatever you need.
So yeah, I remember your talk at Low Carb Denver. It followed right after Priyanka, and I couldn't disagree with you more. The contrast and the somber tone and the real personal stories that you told about your father and all was an immediate connection with the audience. So it was just completely all right and right on spot. So I think that you have a little misimpression about how the audience perceived it, but I perceived it totally differently.
All right. Well, thanks, Nadir. No, I knew it would be fine in the end. It was just kind of funny to have to get up and do this sudden tone switch. But I was fine with it, yeah. And people rapidly, I think, just absorbed into the shift in tone. So great stuff. So yeah, thanks.
So about Houston, and I want to finish on a high note. Houston in October is one of the best places to be. The temperatures are in the 70s. It's sunny. You can walk outside. You can get a lot of vitamin D. I'm trying to get the local restaurants to cater in low carb fare for the conference. And as you know, last time, 2 out of the 3 evenings, we were able to go and get Texas style barbecue. And the Texas barbecue is the best barbecue in the world. I mean, you cannot make barbecue better than the Texans can because they've been making it for at least over 100 years. And so Pinkerton's Barbecue is a spot that we are going to go to. And the conference goers can not only enjoy the conference, but also relish and delight in some of the local foods that are geared towards the low carb community.
Great stuff. Well, I had a lot of that last year, and I can never get enough of that meat. So I'm delighted with that, and so should everyone else. And one last point on the conference as well. It's not in any way ageist. So I'm delighted. I mean, this year now I come over, I'm actually turned 50. So I'm a really old guy, and I'm still welcome. So everyone's welcome, right?
Man, I think you have become, ever since you have gone low carb, I think you are aging in the reverse direction. You're like the Benjamin Button.
Do you? Well, it's rich coming from you because I think I recall you told me your age and I was actually shocked at how young you looked. You don't have to say it now, but what was it?
I'm 58 now.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to be 58 on October 15th. So it's going to be at the conference, I'll be 58 years of age.
Wow. Excellent. Touching 60, but probably physiologically in the 40s. That's the way you want to be.
Well, at least we are trying our best. And I don't think anybody knows the right answer out here. But in 30 years of clinical practice, I have never felt this good about taking care of my patients as I do now. And that has been a transformation over the last 5 years. And I just want, just like you want, I want to pass this knowledge out and disseminate this knowledge to the larger Houston community or the larger community in the world. And that's what we are all about.
Excellent, Nadir. Well, you're the best in the business, and it's great to chat about this. I'm really looking forward to October, so we'll probably wrap it up on that. And just to let everyone know, by the way, there is a lot going on at the moment with Google search algorithms and maybe YouTube algorithms, which are not favoring the less orthodox type channels. So maybe just ask people, always remember to share, subscribe, and help get the message out there, because we might not always be promoted very much by certain industry interests.
Sounds good, Ivor. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Nadir. Catch you soon. Bye now.
Bye now.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see my subscribe button in the middle of the screen, a free viewing of the Widowmaker movie on the far right, and myself and Dr. Gerber's book, Eat Rich, Live Long, on the left. Otherwise, please do subscribe to the audio podcast. Thanks.